Thank you, Mr. Chair. Mr. Nolan, during the Biden administration, the Bureau of Land Management implemented a new policy to provide notice to tribes on new mineral exploration. This kind of exploration, which doesn't trigger NEPA, the National Historic Preservation Act, or other federal review, so it wasn't alerting tribes to any of those triggers. And so they didn't always know about new mining projects until they saw the exploration ongoing. This policy, for folks who hadn't followed it, simply required BLM to notify tribes about new mineral exploration in their areas of interest. President Trump rescinded that policy. Mr. Nolan, do you think rescinding this policy and others that limit when tribes are made aware of projects will make it easier to permit a mine?
I don't. We firmly believe that it's important to have the social license to operate, and we're supportive of the Biden administration's position on early notification and working with communities. So I'm happy to follow up with you on that.
Yeah, thank you so much, Mr. Nolan. This administration is clearly operating in bad faith. We know because mining companies will tell you, as I'm sure they have, that permitting goes more smoothly, as you said, when you have social buy-in, when communities are involved in decision-making from the get-go, including being made aware of potential impacts as soon as practicable. Rescinding this policy, which was helping to lead to smoother permitting, isn't the way to do it. The SPEED Act exempts proposed agency actions from NEPA review if an agency's compliance with another statute fulfills a similar, I'm using air quotes here, function to NEPA requirements. Well, two things are true. One, no other statute fulfills the same function as NEPA, and this bill doesn't define what counts as a similar function, and many other permitting laws, the type that imagine, the chair would mean to substitute for NEPA, those permitting laws are also under attack. For example, in response to this administration's so-called energy emergency, the Department of the Interior published an emergency process for National Historic Preservation Act Section 106 compliance. Many tribal nations rely on this specific law to protect tribal sacred spaces. However, the emergency process, which I have right here, says that energy project sponsors only have to sign a form saying that they will implement, to the extent prudent and feasible, measures to avoid or minimize harm to historic properties. Mr. Gerhart, would signing a form promising to avoid harm to the extent feasible substitute for a full NEPA review?
Without casting any aspersions on the good faith of the official that signs the form, no, because even that official could not know at that instant what was involved and what kind of properties they were and what the potential effects would be. That's what the point of NEPA is to inform government officials so they can make reasoned decisions about what to do. So it would be a blank check, and whether it got honored or not would depend, I think, on the cost of the check.
Thank you. Thank you so much. And, I want to offer that I think that we should be having a meaningful discussion about how we can cut through red tape to allow for projects, particularly green, clean energy projects, to limit our dependence on foreign oil, how we can permit energy projects that decrease our carbon footprint, how we can ensure that we're lowering costs for families. I think that we should be thinking about how we cut red tape to build the kind of housing that we need all across the country. And I think we have to be really clear-eyed about what is at risk if we start allowing folks to sign away full Environmental Protection Act review. And with that, I yield the balance of my time to the ranking member.